In this tutorial we're going to take an in-depth look at the wipe controls and composite controls. But let's start off by looking at the wipe. So here we can see that we've got a viewer and a read one and a checkerboard one. At the moment we can see they're both available in this drop down and slot B is greyed out. So to make slot B available we need to say wipe. So now we have read one in slot A and checkerboard in slot B. So we can move this jack around with this center point here. We can rotate with the long arm, and then the transparency is this slider here, or this handle here rather, and that's going to affect what's in the B slot. So that's how we do it manually with drop downs, but we can also do it with hotkeys. So let's start with a hotkey. So W will uninvoke the wipe. Now let's unhook that, bring these color bars over here, and then Shift 2, that now loads that into the color bars rather into slot B. So now that we've done that, we could also look at one channel in the A slot compared to another channel in the B slot. So let's do that. Let's go here and choose red, but when we choose red, we're going to hold down the Shift key. So now we can see that in the A slot here, we're looking at the red channel, but in the B slot, we've got the full RGB. So we saw that we can do it with this drop down, or the channel selector, and the Shift key, but we can also use the hotkey. So I could do Shift and A, and that would load the alpha, but only in this A slot. So if I go back to red, so Shift R, and now I hit return. Now what return's going to do is going to swap the inputs of A and B. So if we look again, hit return, we can see that the inputs have been swapped. But when they were swapped, it came over with its channel. So this is still only looking at the red channel, and this one is still looking at the RGB. So now that this is in the A slot, I could say Shift blue. So now I'm looking at the blue channel in A and the red channel in B. On top of that, we could hook these two wires up to the same read. So now if I could make it so I was looking at the alpha in one, flop over, and then go back here and choose red with that, and now I've got RGB and alpha in the same image. So I can check my map against my RGB. Let's get out of that, so that would be let's just press A. Now if we were to drag this part over to the color bars. So in the A slot I've got the read, and in the B I've got the color bars. So if I hold down the command key or control key, you see I have this little red box, and that now gives me the values where that red box is. But if I was to do that over where the color bars are here, you can see that the values here are saying black. That's because it's sampling from the A and not the B, and that's always going to be the case. Whenever you sample, you're going to sample from the A slot, not the B slot. We've looked at wipe, let's look at over. So this is a good use for over. What we're going to do here is we're going to see our 3D over our backplate, so we're going to see them in the same viewer. So to do that we need to assign buffer 1, primary buffer, to the 3D, our secondary one, or number 2, to the plate. Then we need to have over here, make sure that we have it set like this, so that scene 1 is over the read. Next we need to make sure we're looking through our render camera, and now lock to it. So now we can see that we're seeing our 3D geometry over our 2D plate. This can be very useful when checking how good a match move is.